So you guys, I just realized that in all these videos, while I was talking about all the issues, I realized I haven't spoken about one of the main, reasons quite often why we get where we are. So it's like codependency, and it's not like something what is so easy to control. Right, it's easy when you have an addiction. Yeah, it's like you either smoke, you drink, you use some substances, drugs, whatever, and only with all these addicting things, even addiction to gambling or even addiction to listening to certain tarot readers with expectancy to get something out of it. It's easy when you, not like easy, I mean, when you are addicted to something, you sort of acknowledge that. And of course, there are many people who are living in denial. They actually abuse, for example, alcohol a lot, and still they are in this denying phase, saying, no, I'm just drinking every now and then, but they actually don't understand that they abuse of, for example, alcohol is much to do some damage in their life, in their family life, in their kids' life, in regards to their friends. So, but they are still denying that it doesn't cause any problems in their life and etc. But the same thing is like it's like one step when you understand, yes, I do have a problem with that, so I will gonna do something about it, or maybe I'm not gonna do anything about it. It's like, it's whatever person decides. A different case scenario. And to be fair, addiction can be like, you know when I said in previous videos, like, hurt people. So that is already like a roundabout, because those who hurt someone, they obviously have some sort of post-traumatic or childhood issue, what's already deep inside of them subconsciously, because they don't dig deep enough to understand why they act the way they act. So they don't acknowledge that they have an addiction to be abuser. So, and therefore, if there are people who are abusers, there are people who are codependent from that. So, like in my case, I did live in a family where my stepdad, he was an alcoholic. So literally all my childhood, teenage life, whatever I can remember, it has been with that one person who has been drunk every bloody day. And to say that it didn't impact me and my choices in life, that would be complete denial. The thing is, in these cases, when someone is using something and it's like a visible thing where you can say, yes, I am a codependent from people who have been abusing alcohol. So literally since I started to live on my own, I have been choosing partners who had problems with alcohol, and that's my codependency. When I started to realize that, I just decided to break the circle. And whenever I saw that someone, because codependency, it's really tricky thing. it goes really deep inside of your subconscious, and if you don't dig deep enough, you can't get rid of that, because subconsciously you keep on attracting people to whom you are codependent. It's like, it's really hard to get rid of that, and it's a huge job to get rid of that. So in my case, when I started to notice that I keep on attracting and choosing people, men in this case, and not even men, I should say, I had many so-called friends in the past who have been abusing alcohol way too much as well, and it was still my choice in a way to stay with them and keep on with their crap, what they were doing regarding me, simply because I was sort of codependent, because I had this strange idea that I will gonna save them if I will be around them, if I will gonna try to help them, if I will gonna love them enough, then they will gonna think that they will gonna stop it. No, that never stops. You are just codependent from that idea that you can save the person whenever you can't. Only they can save themselves. So that's one thing. It's like when it's a visible codependency from certain group of people, then at least you can work on it and work really hard to get yourself out of that circle. Since I understood this codependency, what's in me, I have been working on it, and if I even saw that someone with the slightest problem like that have come across me, maybe it will gonna sound rude or ruthless, but I just stop it and I cut it off, because I don't need that in my life anymore. I don't need that in my boy's life. I don't need it anywhere around me. So if you have any problem with drugs, alcohol, or things like that, go get yourself help, and when you will gonna work on that problem, then we can talk more further or reconnect or whatever. But the hardest part is when this, I think it's quite hard, because I just looked at one video about people who are codependent from physical abusers, and I think that goes even way more deep, because the thing is, like, one thing that you attracted that sort of person in your life, and as the ladies or whoever was on that video said, why did you stay, why didn't you leave? Yeah, it's always easier to blame why didn't you leave, but there are many, it's like one thing if it's like a materialistic thing, but that would be in a way the smallest issue in regards of that. But the biggest issue is that it's so deep in that person, because they think they can maybe change, and especially abusers usually use threats. Whenever they see that they start to lose their power over someone, they start to use threats that they will gonna kill themselves. They start to blackmail in whichever possible way the person, and it's like person gets scared, or they start to feel, oh, I need to help them, they will not gonna survive without me. You know, that is that mentality when it's really hard to get out. That's some sort of codependency of being a savior. It's like you feel that you are the only one who will gonna save them whenever that's just a codependent feeling. And this is the hardest part, how like to get out of these relationships, because you all in some sort of way you are so codependent on these thoughts, on these, not even, it's like even a feeling. Sometimes as much as you hate a person and as much as you hate what they do with you, you still in some sort of level feel that you are the only like escape, or you are the only one who can save them. But it's not. And it's the hardest part to get rid of these ideas and thoughts, because they keep on you in this circle. So if you get out of these abusive relationships, you are lucky enough, first of all, to get out of it if you work hard on yourself with these life, like forever saver. Because I have been like, I always wanted to save everyone and save the world and save from everything, everyone, but that's what caused me so much problems in my life. And the thing is, like, when you start to understand that you have lack of healthy boundaries regarding certain people, and that those people actually, you are codependent on that feeling that you want to save someone, when you start to work on that and you start to clear your head out of these ideas and understand that you actually have to save yourself first, then you can break that circle. You can, but it's really hard to do that. The other thing is, like I already mentioned, why we keep on choosing certain partners or certain people around our lives. Like I said before, it's easy when there is a visible addiction on that person, but there are, like, our codependency can be on really subconscious level, why we attract people. Like for example, you keep on attracting people who are, something is like really similar, for example to your mother. When, for example, you are a guy and your mother did certain things in your life, and you, in a way, you just don't like it, but you keep on attracting the same type of woman like your mother in your life, and you just don't get it why you keep on attracting. Because in a way you are codependent to the ways how your mother was with you. You are just codependent on that. So in a way you are codependent on this miserable feeling, on this lack feeling, on this way fighting nonstop for something. You are just codependent on this victimhood. As stupid as it sounds, but you are codependent on that. You are codependent of begging for love. I have been like codependent from people where I felt like I need to prove them something, that I'm worthy and that I'm lovable and things like that. And that's a codependent situation when you attract those people just because you don't love yourself enough, you don't value yourself enough, you don't see your self-worth in you. That's why you keep on attracting someone. You are so codependent on someone's opinion and on someone's, like, giving you this feeling of proudness about yourself whenever it seems like you don't have enough value in your own eyes. Why? Keep yourself, like, ask yourself a question. Why don't you value yourself enough that you need this approval from anyone else? Why do you need, like, for instance, why do you need approval from complete strangers on socials, and you just keep on collecting many strangers on your social friend list and or on Instagram, and you post things like, or your photos or something else, wherever complete stranger whom you even never spoke to, never met in a life, but that one like gives you so much boost. Why? It means you have a codependency from being approved in someone else's eyes. But why don't you give yourself a credit for that? Why don't you value yourself enough to approve yourself, and don't be bothered about whatever anyone else say? I mean, don't be bothered in a healthy way. I don't say in an egoistical or prideful way. I mean, like, when someone else's opinion is not impacting you because you are codependent on that feeling. You are codependent on someone else's opinion, valuation, what else? Approval, I probably already said. But the thing is, you have to understand that it's just a codependency. Same as like codependency on certain outcomes. Like, for example, why I mentioned that some people are codependent on tarot readers, because they sit and wait for that outcome, and they become so addicted and codependent on that outcome that they just wait and wait and wait, and they put their life on a hold. That's a codependency on certain outcomes. Instead of going and living their life, they just feel so codependent from certain energy that they just sit and listen and listen, and then they just get disappointed. Codependency leads to the biggest disappointments in your life because you just don't get what you want, whenever actually you can create what you want in your life and no one else. Codependency goes really, really deep inside you, and the hardest part is actually to acknowledge it, because many of us, we think we are not codependent, but most of us are. And to find what we are so codependent from, it is so hard. And it's even harder to get rid of that codependency. It's the same as like addicts. Is it easy for them to get rid of their addiction? Whichever addiction it is, it takes so hard work. And codependent person is literally in the same spot in a way. Maybe a little bit different way, but still in the same way. It's really hard work with yourself. And I am probably still struggling with certain codependency issues, and I'm still working on them. Honestly, addiction is one thing. With addiction, if you push yourself hard enough, you can get rid of it. And if you push yourself hard enough, you can keep on going with it. But codependency, it's like addiction on a completely different level, because quite often, like I mentioned already, it's subconscious, and many times we just don't understand it. We don't understand that we have this codependency, and it takes years and years and years to understand that we are codependent on something or someone, because we can be codependent on certain people or on certain things or on certain ways, and if we can't change that, or we even don't try to change it, then nothing in our lives change. We keep on getting on the same circle non-stop. This is the thing where karma comes in and checks if you have done work on yourself. And if you haven't, you will keep on getting the same energies all over again. So think about it, because it's like, that's quite tricky. Just sometimes sit and think, put yourself, if you can't understand, just, if you notice that you keep on getting all the same things in your life, write down what's exactly is similar with every situation or every person or whatever else. Just write it down. Find this one particular thing what you quite possible are codependent of. Is it person who likes to use alcohol? Maybe you are codependent from alcoholics. Is it person who doesn't value, like at first they sort of, they say you are stunning, you are beautiful, but on the next moment they are nearly beating you up for whichever reason. You probably are codependent from abuser, whichever way. Or if it's emotional codependency, then check what sort of people are you choosing. Is it someone who is at first really loving, and then suddenly they pull off and they make you feel like you are unworthy or unlovable or things like that? Then think deeper why you keep on choosing people like that. Is it something to do with your parents who have been treating you the same way? Or if you keep on attracting the same type of person just because you don't value and love yourself enough, just dig deep. And when you will find your answer, it will gonna be easier to start to deal with it. It will not gonna be easy, but it will be at least a start point where to work on yourself. So yeah, just try to do that, and then probably it will be, then probably you at some point will be able to break this circle, what is like ongoing non-stop. I will see you later, guys.